Alright, g'day there. Richard Musgrave-Evans here again, and welcome back. Now today, country Australia, beautiful location, the land of blue and gold, summer with a beautiful dam. Fantastic little spot. It's going to be quite a simple painting today, just a small little piece, just capturing the feeling and the energy of the reflective waters and the beautiful gum tree. Alright, Richard Musgrave-Evans here again, and welcome back. Now today, fantastic subject. Down the creek, well not the creek, but we've got a dam, some beautiful gum trees, and just some lovely banks, and just a general Australiana landscape. Should be great. Alright, now, I've just done a quick block into some of the darks to get me going, and then we'll get into it. One thing I might say about the darks before we go any further, it warms me up for the composition, which is great, but at the same time I like to put dark on light, and I can do the opposite. I quite often do the opposite, but it's easier to start off with the darks in an oil painting and then work the lights on top. I've used some really warm tones there and a few cool tones. Later on, once I've put the lighter tones over it, I might scrape back to some of those, reveal some of those darker tones underneath. Now we'll get started. Biggest difference from now between this whiteboard and what we're seeing back there. Alright, let's go. Okay, I think I'm going to use a little bit of magenta here. I will use a bit of magenta, I should say. A bit of white, burnt sienna, just making a neutral type of tone to stick in the backdrop here. Maybe a little bit more cobalt blue, like so. Okay, I'll just pull those into where I reckon I need them. Fairly windy day today, but we're fairly protected here, so hopefully we're okay. Okay, let's do this. Let's put those purples in. Purple browns. Okay, now I'll mix up a bit of viridian green and burnt sienna maybe for a bit of foliage on those trees. A little bit of yellow ochre to go with it. Just pull those on like so. Just getting a general feel at the moment for the subject. Don't want to get too carried away with anything. I'll use a bit of yellow ochre and viridian green here. Lighten the tone a bit. Just lightly pull through. A bit more yellow ochre I reckon to warm the tone up a bit. Just lightly pulling over there, leaving the undertones coming through, the under shadow tones. Mix up viridian green and white, make a really light green colour. Half mix that with some yellow ochre, get a really high key colour. A bit more of the green I reckon. Just lightly pull through there. Okay, now just grab a bit of paper towel while I'm at it. Okay. Right. This water's a big difference. Let's put that water in. Righty then. What tone have we got here? It's quite a dark tone, that water, like a tea colour almost, which is a good thing because I like tea. Good old cups of tea, a nice brew. Bit of magenta and blue. I'm trying to make a neutral colour, a little bit of burnt sienna. Okay, let me have a look at that. A little bit of yellow ochre there to alter the tone. A bit more yellow ochre right near the bank. Holy heck, did you hear that? That was the door to the truck. That got me jumping. It was a bit of fun, wasn't it? Some of these darker, hang on, clean that, scrape that back. I want some pure dark tones in the water there. I didn't put that for the reflections before. There should be a few dark tones just here, like so. That will be reflections of what's going on up here. Okay, now a bit more green in that. Just feeling the subject. More green with the burnt siennas. Making a beautiful dark tone. There we go, get that in there. Right. Just keep on going till you think you've got some general thing happening. Pull some of that paint off. Right, now let's get a bit of yellow ochre, burnt sienna, white. Just make up a nice colour for the grass. Nice kind of summer grassy colour. Stick some of those in. As we're going, I can see a few of them are more in a shadow tone, so I'll build that up too. I'll build a shadow tone. Some burnt sienna, yellow ochre, a bit of blue and white. They'll be darker tones to go here. Don't have to get too fussy yet, you're just getting a general feel of the place at the moment. You can get into all your high details later as you go. That'll be the tree just here. I'll pick that out a little bit. Add a few tones. Pull this across to get that tree happening. There's a nice dark tree up there in the distance, just up here. I'll stick that in now. It's got a nice trunk on it. A few dusty mauve greys in that, so I'll mix some blue and magenta into that brown. There we go, look at that now. A bit more of that magenta, blue, just here. Scrape a bit of paint back to get the draftsmanship. Do a bin run, eh? Do a bin run. Alrighty. Got a bit of blue and white. Let's get some sky in, shall we? Quite a high key sky today. Well, we stick a few bits in here and there. A little bit of magenta with that. Chunk it on nice and thick, why not? So, right now a deeper version, tone inversion. What you've got here is the water. The reflection is always a weaker version of the sky, so that'll be a key down version. I'll use some magenta and blue There, what we've got here. It's quite a neutral tone. I've got some burnt siennas in there, etc. It's kind of working on that trunk at the moment, get a bit of a reflection of that trunk. I'll just stand back and have a look. Putting some of those darks in there where the trunk is in the water here. Establishing a bit of a trunk here. Right. Just going to put more of those reflective qualities in the water. It's quite dark down the base here. Like I said, that tea colour is quite dark. Bit more white in that mix. Pull a few of those in. Getting a general feel of what's going on now. Always got to keep a clean palette knife, so we'll do that. Just add a bit of brown into this magenta blue sky mix. That'll be that beautiful trunk that we've got here. What a fantastic looking trunk that is indeed. Just build that into the subject. Lovely, lovely. Mix up a few lights. Pull that back. Just want a few lighter tones in the sky, so I'll mix up some extremely light colours here. I can hear a jet plane going past, you never know. Doesn't matter where you are, there's always the modern world, isn't there? Right, here we go. Just feeling some of those colours in there. Okay, now what I might actually find is one of my favourite things, as you know, that massive palette knife. Okay, here we go. Now with this knife, I'm just going to pull through a bit like so. Just what this does is blends everything together and gives you that real soft out of focus look. Really gives you that feeling that it also abstracts, but at the same time it blends everything and gives the palette knife a softer feeling. So we'll just quickly bung some of this in to get a feel of the whole place. Just blend these a bit. Downward strokes. You can do any sort of marks, but it's good to finish with the water with downward reflections mainly. Do a bit of everything, but just may lighten this tone. Ooh, that's a bit too light. I was just going to lighten that tone a bit, but I got a bit carried away. Just want that to be beautiful, deep out of focus tones. Just in the reflection here, I'll just brighten it up a little bit, not too much. Stand back and have a look at it. Okay. Scrape back a bit here. What I'm doing there is trying to bring that undercolour in that I was telling you about earlier. That beautiful colours of reds and greens and whatever tones I stuck in the underpainting. Let's get rid of some of them for now. Burnt sienna and yellow ochre. I just want to pick out this tree again. She got a bit lost here, this one. Just get some draftsmanship going. Like so. Okay. Pick out a few of the light tones on the tree. Just pull the knife sideways to help smear some of those beautiful marks in the tree, like so. The kind of spiral effect in this trunk. I'm trying to pick up on where the bark is kind of spinning around the tree. I'll stand back and have a look. Just using little marks there to help blend them together. I feel like I got that somewhere where I want it. Hang on. Just stick a little bit more. Let's get this tree here going. Just going to pull down now like that to soften. Pull down to soften. Cleaning the brush each time, but I'm really trying to soften that effect. A bit more yellow ochre and white. What's gone and happened is the sun's gone and gone out. Changed it a little. Then she decides to come back, so it's a bit patchy today, the old light and shadow. Can be good, and it can also put you off a bit sometimes because she keeps on changing, but we won't worry about that. We'll just keep on going, see what we get. Just use the old finger maybe to get rid of a few of these little highlights I don't want on the edge. Okay, what have I got now? Let's have a look, eh? Got all those beautiful greens. Slightly put some of them in the backdrop here. Very lightly touching so that a lot of the underpainting is showing through there. Wipe that nice clean, just clean this edge up here where the tree meets the backdrop. Just doing a bit of pulling through and softening and hardening, just generalising the feel of the place. Some of those greens. Pull through to soften. Let's have a look, eh? Yellow ochre and white. I just want to put a keynote here. Make it pop a bit. Right, now with the knife on edge, I'll just draw a few things in. Clean this area. Mix up some whites and blues. Make a beautiful cool tone. I just want to break, it's a warm and cool, there's warm and cool in all landscapes, and this is fairly overcast, but what I'm trying to do is break up those warm and cools and make them obvious to the eye to make the painting really sing. And a bit of sun's coming out, which doesn't hurt too, that's good. Sweep those trees, get those tones happening. A bit of a shadow tone on this side. Now that the sun's come out, I can see that, which is a bonus. Stick some of these fence posts in. There's a couple here and there. Won't get too carried away, but pull that up. Shorten it a bit. A little fence post down in the scrub here somewhere. Stick him in there. The sun's come out a bit, which is starting to help a bit. I can see things again. It's getting a bit dark and dingy there for a while. So I'll just intensify the blue in the water here a bit. Let's put a few more blue highlights here and there. Have a look, see what we've got, eh? Cleaning up some of this paint, just scraping back a bit. Bring it back to the warm tones that we were talking about earlier. Taking some paint off. Few clouds. Well, bit of a gust of wind coming through, hopefully that doesn't blow everything over. Knife on edge to just draw a few trunks in the distance. few cad colours. Just adding a few brightness here and there to try and get it to really pop now. Sting it up a bit because I notice the sun's just coming out now, so pull it together a bit, get some sunlight going. Drag through to soften, abstract. Scrape some paint back. Right now, just get some really bright cad colours. Stick some fine details. Oh, there we go, with a nice one edge. In some of the focal areas to really pull it together. Really fine lines helps to bring it together. Gives the illusion of realism and detail. The illusion of detail is very important in a painting like this. Take a bit of paint off there. Alright, that sun's come out nicely, so we can put those finishing touches on. Some little highlights here and there of colour. Right, just get a little bit more of this blue, I reckon, blue and white. Make a bit of a lighter tone there. Alright, well that's about it. I've got the big impression. Nice Australiana subject. Beautiful water. Fantastic gum trees. Just a lovely scene in general. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed that. And what I'll do is I might get that camera, we'll bring it up and have a closer look. Okay, thank you. Well, that's about it. For a broad painting, that'll probably do it. You know, it's just a quick impression. And the concept of this painting is about that beautiful reflective water and that fantastic gum tree on the bank. Now, I've put a bit of work into that gum tree for a broad painting. I've got some subtle colours as it spirals up. The water itself is just dealt with broadly with palette knife. And as I was saying earlier, I've got those warm and cool undertone colours, of the reds and the greens, and I sometimes scrape back to that. You'll see there's very much warm and cool contrast in that water, all dealt with very broadly but softly. Okay, now over here you'll see the same effect. I'm using reds and greens as an underpainting. Here where the sun's shining, I've got the golden light and the cold blue shadows and purple shadows. Alright, well there you go, that's about it. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, that'd be greatly appreciated. Alright, until next time, I'll see you down the road.